Well, hello everybody and welcome to our Behind the Signs seminar today. This is a seller seminar. We're going to talk about all the things that are important to sell your home, get as much money as possible. And so I'm Sherry Clifton, your local real estate expert, and I've got two guests with me. I'm excited to introduce to you LeAnn Holt, and she is with Organized and Tidied, home organization specialist. And we've also got Garrett in from Elite Inspections, and he's your go-to home inspection guy.
Thank you.
I'm Sherry Clifton. I have been in real estate now for 10 years. And the first 3 years I was an independent agent, so I worked with buyers and sellers. But for the last 7.5 years, I've been on the Cave Realty team, and I've only worked with sellers. So that is my specialty. If you want to list your home, I know exactly how to help you. So what to expect from this seminar? We're going to give you kind of a behind the scenes look at what it takes to sell your home in 2026 in Collin County. We're going to cover the latest marketing stats for Collin County and for Allen, how to prepare your home, our marketing strategies, how to stay show ready, what to expect when offers come in, and then you're gonna meet the team that's working for you. So we're gonna start. I know it's really small and a little bit hard to see, but basically overall, from last year to this year, on the right side, we've got more listings, a little bit more listings this year than we did a year ago, a little more active listings as well. And we've also closed more homes this year than a year ago. So we have more inventory for buyers to choose from, but we also have closed more homes. So I really see the serious buyers are out right now. People think that, oh, nobody's looking. But we had a lot of closings. Our team had a lot of closings in January, and that tells us that we went under contract in December. So people are buying. They're out buying. And then as far as Allen, we've got Allen in the first column, and then Plano in the second column, and McKinney in the third column. Again, new listings are for Allen specifically. We've got a little bit less new listings. We've got a little bit less active listings than we had a year ago. But our closed listings are also up. And so that's telling us, that people are out. Serious buyers are out shopping, and they are getting under contract and they're closing. And so where buyers find their homes, I think is really interesting to see. So the second column is divided by the age group. So the 26 to 34-year-olds, and then 35 to 44-year-olds, then 45 to 59-year-olds, 60 to 69-year-olds, 70 to 78, and then 79 to 99. The number one way people are finding their homes is through the internet. What's probably not surprising to you is the majority of people that are using the internet are the younger group of buyers. The oldest group of buyers are using the internet the least amount. But it's really interesting to see that real estate agents giving them the homes, that's the next one. Friends, relatives, neighbors, only about 8 to 13% of the buyers. A home builder or their specific agent, again, like 3 to 7%. And then yard sign or open house signs, interestingly enough, that's only a very small percentage. A lot of people think open houses sell their houses, and we'll talk a little bit more about it, but really, as you can see, only about 4, maybe 5% of homes are sold through an open house. The reason that agents like to hold open houses is they are hoping that people will come in that don't have a realtor, and so they are looking for business. The house that they're holding open rarely sells because of the open house, but again, they're looking for business. So what to expect from me as your realtor? My commitment to you is honesty, respect, and open communication. Every step of the way, I'm going to keep you informed. I'm going to answer questions. I'm always going to have your best interests in mind. And then if we agree to work together, we're going to enter into a relationship. And then, like all relationships, it has to remain a win-win. So I'm always going to be honest with you about what needs to be done with the property, whether or not something is worth your time, your money, the hassle. I'm always going to respect your time, your needs, and your finances. And it means I'm going to be on time for meetings. I'm going to use the strategy that we create to negotiate, and I'm going to protect your money for the best of my ability and when preparing your home for the market and throughout the transaction. So communication is huge in every relationship. So I'm going to update you at least once a week. We're going to send you what we call Friday feedback, and it keeps you updated on the progress of the home selling and then what feedback that we've received during the week and what, if any, adjustments we need to make regarding the entire property itself or even the price. Beyond this, you're always welcome to call me within reasonable hours. Texting specifically usually gets a quicker response. So our team, love you to meet our team, our listing team, because selling a home is a team effort. So Evan has been on our team for quite some time, actually a little bit over 8 years. And he is our operations manager. He keeps everything running smoothly. We have Christine. She's our transaction coordinator. She's been with us over a year. And she handles all the details from contract to close. She keeps everybody informed of where we are in the process. And then Heather is our marketing coordinator. She's been with us about 5.5 years. And she ensures that your home stands out everywhere that it matters. Home marketing consultations, doing the Matterport of the 3D virtual tours, social media, print marketing. She kind of does it all, wears a lot of hats. So preparing your home to list, here's what happens as you prepare to list. First, we're gonna help prep your home so it's ready for the market. We're gonna set the right price. We're gonna launch our marketing plan. And we're going to help you stay show ready throughout the process. So as far as prepping the home, we want you to maximize your potential. So a clean, neutral, streamlined look helps buyers imagine life in your house. And how do we do that? We have our home marketing consultations. So we have a complimentary service available to all of our sellers. We walk through the home. We make notes of what adjustments we can find that benefit the seller and increase the chances of the house going from listing to an active option. And we always aim for the low cost or high impact action items. So cluttering, cleaning, we make suggestions so you don't have to spend money where you're not going to get a return on your investment. And we understand your days may be just as busy as ours. So if you find yourself in need of some help getting the house organized before listing, perhaps a professional organizer would be a good idea. So, LeAnn, I want to thank you so much for being here tonight, and we're grateful for you to share your expert tips on how a well-organized home can help make a big impact on buyers on the sale of their home. So, I'm going to let you take it away.
I need to stand right. Okay, so, what's our next slide? There we go. Okay, so my company is Organized and Tidy. I'm going to be talking to you about some tips to kind of help your home look better in photos and hopefully sell a little quicker. All right, so some tips and tricks that I have personally noticed and helped clients with are removing personal items such as photos. So I know that a lot of real estate agents are different. Some say leave them, some say don't. What I feel I've heard more often is to remove anything personal, because you don't want somebody walking in the house and going, oh my gosh, I can't put these people out in the streets or whatever. I don't want to buy this house, it's theirs. Just taking those things off the walls, off of the mantle, that kind of stuff, anything like on the magnets on the refrigerator, taking those things off. And anything that I've been told, anything that has the word, I love my dog and my dog lives here, to take that away and then to sweep up the dog hair. It helps. So, especially when you're having an open house or having a showing, you don't want that kind of stuff out. So what my team and I do, we come in and remove any clutter on the countertops. So clutter is more or less, a toaster that you're not using every day, or we would leave a coffee pot, right? Because that's probably a daily item. But taking things off, like change and keys, hang those up kind of thing. So basically just making it look good for photos, like somebody is not living there with a cluttered space. So, but what I do, I'm proactive about it. So I come in and basically pack up anything that you're not utilizing at that moment. So let's say you're listing a house in December. You're probably not gonna have shorts and swimsuits in use anytime soon. So I would go ahead and pack those. That way when you do sell the home, you aren't rushing to say, oh my gosh, we have to start packing everything. You already have some boxes started, you have some things packed, maybe some dressers are emptied out, and just makes that process less stressful and a lot quicker when it does come time to pack and to move. So instead of shoving in cabinets, that's what I was getting at, instead of shoving all of the clutter under the cabinets and in the drawers, because people do look at those in open houses, we go in and basically anything that is still being used but is considered clutter, I would put those into a drawer, nice and neat and organized, where you can still see it and still live in your home comfortably, but again, packing anything you aren't using every day. Asking your agent which colors are popular with buyers and leaving any of those decorative items to attract potential buyers. That just depends on the agent that you're using. I think it depends on the time of the year, that kind of stuff, paint colors, and having a vase out that might be a yellow in a room that has darker walls, just kind of that kind of stuff. And then designating a room, which it could be a garage or a storage building. Maybe you have a storage in your backyard, but that's where I usually place the packed items, because if somebody's coming into a house, they kind of understand the garage might have some stuff still in it, because we want to see the garage, but at the same time, you still have boxes to pack, and where are they going to go? So putting those in a room that isn't really used a lot, or that you're probably not going to show, is what I find is key. So again, putting those in the garage or into like a storage shed outside. And then do not wait to pack everything. Start now with items not used. Again, going back to, if it's the summer, go ahead and pack your winter items, and then vice versa. And then starting small, one room at a time. So I know a lot of people will call me and say, I'm so overwhelmed, I can't do this. Well, you can. You probably just try to do it all at once, and you want it done in an hour. That doesn't happen. So starting small, and this could be also for if you're just trying to get your new, and you bought a home and you're trying to get one space organized. Start small and then see where you can go. At that point, if you're like, I tried to organize the small linen closet and I got overwhelmed in 30 minutes, then maybe hire somebody else. Don't try to start on the master bedroom. But if you start small, you'll kind of see where your limitations are. And then when you are either packing or organizing a room, start with donations. So if you have donations, try not to get a box going and then saying, oh, I'll get rid of those later. Because what happens is you start going through it and go, oh, the next day you say, oh wait, I did like that top. And then all of a sudden you look in your donation box and it's empty. So once you get a donation box going, I always say, go ahead and just get that out. Get it out, take it to the donation center, or put it in your car so you're not looking at it every day. And the same things goes with family members getting any items that you're passing down. So this happens a lot with senior clients. They'll say, well, I have this china set that I want to go to my granddaughter, or furniture or whatever. Go ahead and call those people and say, hey, one, do you want this? And two, when can you come and get it? Because I want to get my house ready to show and ready to sell. And then any trash. If you have paperwork or items that just need to get rid of, go ahead and start shredding them. Get rid of that stuff and take it out on trash day. Don't have it just sitting around, because again, once it comes time for somebody to show the house or to pack, it'll make it a lot easier. And then when I say start small, 1 room at a time, try starting in those 2-hour increments. In 2 hours, what I like to do is take a break, step back, even if you're packing, just step back and then go get a drink of water, go watch a 30-minute show, sit down, take a walk. And then you come back and your mind is kind of cleared and you'll see things in the room you may not have noticed before because you were, knee deep in, in clutter. And then the last thing is having a staging area. So if you're trying to figure out what to do and it's overwhelming, have a flat surface like a table or a bed and use that for your sorting area. So you put the boxes on there and that way you're not hurting your back, but it's also, you have labeled, donation, give to cousin, trash, and you're just putting things in the boxes and it makes it so much easier at the end of the day to get rid of items and make your home ready to sell. So yeah, that is my staging tips on a home when you're trying to show it. And again, LeAnn Holt with Organize and Tidy. Thank you.
Awesome, those are great suggestions. We'll even talk a little bit about some of the things that you've even said. And so now we'll talk about pricing is key. There's 10 rules for optimizing your price. One is pricing with the market and not your emotions, because it's natural to value your home based on the memories that you've made there. Buyers only care about the current market data. They don't care about your memories. So setting an objective price ensures that you attract the serious offers rather than just sentimental browsers. The first 14 days matter the most. Your home gets the maximum amount of attention from buyers and agents the moment that it hits the MLS. People are most excited about your home when it first hits the market. And if you aren't priced correctly in those first 2 weeks, you're gonna miss your best window and of getting your best offers and people looking at it. Overpricing costs more than you think. A high price often leads to a stale listing, which eventually forces a larger price drop than if you just priced it correctly initially. So you end up losing time and money while paying carrying costs for a home that isn't selling. And when a home sits for a little bit, buyers always ask what's wrong with it. And so they get a false sense of stigma. There's something wrong with it, and there's actually not a thing wrong with it. So let the data speak for itself. The numbers don't have opinions. They just show us exactly what buyers are doing, what they're looking at, and what the competitors are charging. So following the data removes guesswork and it provides us with a clear, proven path to the closing table. Don't chase the market. So if a market's shifting downwards, a small price cut may not be enough to catch up to the buyer expectations. It's better to be ahead of the curve with a competitive price than to constantly have to drop the price while the buyers move on to other or newer listings. And we want to create urgency. So a compelling price makes buyers feel like they need to act fast because someone else is going to beat them to it. So when multiple people want the same deal, it drives that final price up naturally. And we want to align your price and presentation. So the price tells buyers what the home's worth. The presentation of the home shows them why. So it's a home that looks like a 10, but priced like a 5, you're going to get a crowd of people. If it's the other way around, it's just going to sit. Using smart price bands. So most buyers search in increments like $450,000 to $500,000. They price their home. You price your home at $501,000, for example, instead of $500,000. You could accidentally hide your listing from a lot of potential pool of buyers because they've set their criteria up to 500, so they miss your house. And then reassessing every 15, 21 days. The market is dynamic and it changes every new sale in your neighborhood. So we check the data every week. We ensure that your home remains the most attractive option available to the buyers. Remember that the market decides the value. So ultimately a home is only worth what a buyer is willing to pay. My job is to position your home so that the market's decision is as high as possible. And so we don't just show photos, we actually provide a high-tech Matterport 3D virtual tour for our marketing. It allows buyers to actually walk through your home from anywhere in the world, and it creates a digital twin of your property. It filters out casual lookers and ensures that every person who walks through the front door is already a highly interested buyer, serious buyer. So here's a short clip to show you what it looks like. I could be laying on my couch at midnight and I can walk through your house. So it's a pretty cool feature. Most agents use this when it's over $1 million properties. We actually use this technology on every one of our listings. It sells homes. People coming from out of state, they can look at this 3D Matterport and they can tell their agent, hey, go check it out. If it looks like this, I want to put an offer on it. We've sold a tremendous number of homes, especially during COVID when people were coming from out of state. But I can't even keep up with how many homes we've sold, like kind of sight unseen, but through this 3D Matterport. I mean, it provides total transparency. It builds massive confidence, especially for out-of-town buyers. People looking to make a quick decision. So it really works. We also, for the MLS, it's multiple listing service, powering your listing through the different platforms. They instantly syndicate your home to thousands of sites. For example, Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, it ensures no matter where a buyer is searching, your home is the first one that they're gonna see. It matters because it builds the widest possible net. It ensures maximum visibility from just day one. Then our social media campaign creates a velvet rope effect. It starts with a coming soon buzz, and then we build, there's our coming soon. So it starts getting a buzz built up for the home, even before we go active. And then we maintain that momentum through the just listed phase. It keeps your property trending. So here's an example of just listed. And it creates social proof and urgency, making the buyers feel they need to get out there, they need to act fast because they might be wanting to buy this house. Then we have sales meetings every week. I'm personally standing up and pitching your home to the entire network of, we've got about 100 agents that show up every Wednesday. It's this insider marketing often connects us with the buyers who are already working with our colleagues and they haven't found the right home yet. And it matters because it leverages professional relationships to find a buyer through a trusted network before the general public even sees it. And then for open houses, we talked a little bit about them before. And so really rarely that they're, occasionally they'll be successful, but rarely do open houses sell houses. Sometimes the neighbors will come, which we do invite the neighbors because they might know someone who wants to be their neighbor. If we do an open house, I do like to do them maybe the first weekend that we go on the market because it allows us to get some feedback. And so if they say, for example, I don't like the green walls and the purple carpet, and we hear that a lot, we can do something about it immediately before it's opened up to a lot of people looking at it. So we take care of anything that stands out while we do the open house. But again, we're looking for feedback is why we do an open house. We don't just wait for a phone to ring. We actually hit the pavement. We door knock the neighborhood with custom flyers, and we turn your neighbors who already love the area into our secondary sales force, and they help us. Maybe they got a friend or a family member, they want to buy the house. So it's a proactive boots on the ground approach. It uncovers buyers who might not actively be searching online. And we also circle prospect. So we have a program where we call your neighbors and we let them know about the home that's coming on the market as well. And then staying show ready, that's super important. We've got a few tips to help your showings go as smoothly as possible. We want to maximize your sale, keep your home show ready while it's on the market. So you need to be flexible. with the showings. Be as flexible and accommodating to the buyer's schedule as possible, because we want to avoid having any missed opportunities if all possible. So whatever you can do when somebody wants to see the home, we usually give you at least an hour's notice. If you need a little bit more, we can work around that. We want you to stay informed, making sure everybody in the house is aware when the showing is gonna happen, so the spaces will stay clean. And then you do need to keep the house clean. You gotta keep up with everyday messes. You gotta wipe down countertops, kitchens, bathrooms, before leaving for the day. And then a little tip is sometimes those college caddies where you could put some things in and then just put them under a cabinet. That helps a lot of times, just keeping everything neat and tidy. And then smells. We want to avoid strong smelling food, so keep your meal prep as simple as possible. And of course, lemon juice and ice in a garbage disposal can help with that as well. You want to contain or actually remove any pets. You want to keep the pet area clean. You want to wash the bedding regularly, hide food and litter, because not everybody's a pet person, and it may hinder a potential buyer's ability to picture themselves in a home. Mainly if there's any unmanaged litter box smells, or urine in carpets, or dried wet food, well-loved blankets rolled in after they've rolled in the grass and dirt and things like that. So we want to keep everything nice and clean. You definitely want to open the blinds for natural light. Open blinds, curtains if you have them, so as much natural light can come in as possible. If it's possible, you also want to leave lights on before you leave. It just helps make the space feel larger and inviting. A lot of people, when the blinds aren't open, they think everything is dark, when it may not really be that dark. Just keep it comfortable. When people are coming through the home, they want the temperature demonstrating that the HVAC is actually working properly. If it's hot or if it's cold, they're gonna think there's a problem with the HVAC. And then, like LeAnn talked about, you do want to remove personal items. Just make sure that you place all your valuables, prescription medicines, anything out of sight to a safe place. You want to remove any family photos, so buyers are able to picture their own family in the home and not your family. Also, I've seen where it is super important to take anything that's like a college, say you're a UT fan, and you've got stuff with Longhorns around the house. You want to remove all that, because you might have a Texas A&M graduate that won't buy the house just because a Longhorn lived there, and I have seen that personally. So anything that shows personality, I guess, would be something to take out. And you definitely want to leave during the showings, because having a seller present can make the buyers feel very awkward, and we want them to feel at home. We want them to stay a while. We want them to look around and feel comfortable. And then once you receive an offer, we take more into consideration than just an offer price. There's a lot of terms that we look at, and what would the buyers need in order to purchase your home. So there's contingencies. A contingency in real estate just means a condition or requirement that has to meet for the contract to move forward to the closing table. If the contingency isn't satisfied, the buyer or the seller may have the right to back out of the contract without any penalties. The top 5 most common contingencies in Texas, in the Dallas area, is 1, financing. The buyer has to secure a loan. The appraisal, the property has to appraise at or above the purchase price. The inspection, you got to negotiate the repairs, or some buyers could terminate within that option period. And then the sale of a property. So sometimes the buyers themselves have their own house to sell, or they're hopefully under contract, but they've got to sell that house before they can actually buy your house. And then you got to clear title. So the seller has to clear title, make sure that the buyer can buy the home. And so cash versus a finance offer, most commonly conventional and FHA are offered. Sometimes we do have cash. For cash, you just have to have proof of funds. Typically you close faster with a cash offer, could be 7 to 14 days. There's no lender approval or any appraisal that's required, so it's less risk of falling out. Fewer contingencies, there's much less paperwork. And you might get a slightly lower offer than a finance offer, but there's less risk involved. And then financed offers, buyers using a mortgage, so closing usually takes anywhere between 21 and 45 days, typically about 30 days. And typically the subject to lender approved of the property appraisal. They may offer a higher price, but there's also a higher risk of delays or a deal falling through if there's any financial issues. And I'm sure you've heard of crazy stories where right before closing a buyer goes and buys a new car or something crazy. And so hopefully buyers' agents are warning them not to go crazy and go buy things right before they buy a house. And then for financed offers, there's some risk involved. We love cash. It is usually the best. If the financed offer is significantly higher and the buyer is strong, then you might go with the financed offer. So you have to go to weigh speed, certainty, and the net proceeds when you compare offers. And then I help evaluate every offer's strengths and weaknesses and that type of thing, where we're going to negotiate and things like that. And then pre-approvals, that is the very first layer of security. So it assures you that the potential buyer can get the loan that they need. It moves them from a looker to actually a qualified buyer. A pre-approval letter is essential for a financial guarantee from a lender, and it tells the seller that the buyer's credit, the income, the assets have already been verified. It takes the guesswork out of the transaction, and then for a seller, a pre-approval buyer represents minimal risk of the deal falling through due to financing issues. In a competitive market, a pre-approval is not just a bonus, but it is a requirement for any serious contender. And then accepting an offer without a pre-approval is like taking your house off the market just for a maybe. So the loan types are conventional, FHA, VA, those are the three most common. Conventional is often the least complicated and an appealing choice. It's the most common. There's fewer governmental mandated hurdles, focused primarily on the home's market value rather than on a strict health and safety inspections. Are much easier for sellers who want to sell their property in its current condition. And then FHA and VA can cause some delays because they can require repairs and appraisals. The FHA and the VA loans often require some work orders for minor issues like peeling paint, loose handrails, or missing smoke detectors. They've got to be fixed before the loan will close. The typical closing timeline, you might need to close quickly to move on to your next adventure, or you might need to extend closing to allow time for your next home to be ready, or you might need a lease back. A lease back allows you to stay in your home for a predetermined amount of time after you close. And then inspections. So Garrett's going to share what to expect during inspections, how to prepare so there's no surprises.
Thank you. I am Garrett Hand, the owner of Elite Inspection Group, and I look at this a little different because I used to be a real estate agent, so I kind of merge my two worlds. And I always pick on real estate agents and say that they stage homes wrong, but I did it when I was an agent. I just think we need to add another piece, and that's doing an inspection. So I'm going to piggyback off of her real quick, and as an inspector, if you get it decluttered and clean, we love it. And we're only human, and sometimes when we have a bad day or it's been rough and you walk into a cluttered house where you can't get to anything, or it is dirty, you just start getting a little angry, and it's just frustrating sometimes, and when you don't have access to do a good job. And sometimes you'll have inspectors out there that will take it out on the homeowner because of that, as far as when the report goes. So cleanliness is next to godliness when it comes to that. And so when they declutter, and it's for a reason. And not only does it show better, but it makes every process of it better. There's access to all the things. So I would just piggyback off of you a little bit and say that. Now, most of the time when a buyer gets an inspection report, a buyer and a buyer agent, they actually look at the number of pages first. okay? And so if it's 42 pages, oh my gosh, there's so much in this inspection report, versus 31 pages, they're a little more at ease about, oh, it's gonna be a clean inspection. When in reality, we can blow up a deal in 1 page. And when I say that is, so if you're the seller and you have a house on the market, if the agent and the buyer always go to number of pages, wouldn't you naturally want your number of pages to be smaller? Yes. And so there's a lot of things when I say you need to stage a home, not only for this purpose and to sell it and for pictures, but to get ready for the inspection. And when I was a real estate agent, I encouraged all my sellers to do a pre-listing inspection. And so what we would do is we would do, and I know Sherry does this, we would do an inspection on the listing. Then we would get the inspection report, and it's the same inspection that a buyer would do. We'd get the report, and we'd go through it together before we listed the house on the market. And if there were big items that needed to be fixed that were gonna cause value, like she said, there's things that you wanna fix that aren't gonna help you with value, and things that you wanna fix that are gonna help you with value. If they were gonna affect the value of the house, we would get those fixed, and we would post the inspection and the receipts online on her MLS, like they would say, with the seller's disclosure showing, hey, here's what we did. And when I was in real estate, we used to say, selling your house really is price, condition, and location. And if all those line up, you're gonna sell the house for the money that you want. If your condition, and I'm saying that as an inspector, if your condition is low, you're selling trying to sell a 5 house, what she said, at a 10 price instead of a 10 house at a 5 price. And so we did that. So we did pre-listing inspections. The 11 of my last 13 listings, the buyer agent called me and asked if they could just use our inspection report that we already did. And my sellers always said yes, because we didn't want them to hire somebody else. And so my first thought and my first rule of thumb, if I was a listing agent, was let's do a pre-listing inspection. I want to know what comes up before the buyer knows what comes up. I want to be in the power position on negotiations. I want to be able to fix the things so it's not scary to the buyer. And then if they don't even get an inspection, we win. If we have to drop the price for a new AC, we already know that, and we were open and honest about it, and they negotiate less. You want to negotiate less if you're the seller. Let's just sell the house. You might have to move. Your job may be moving you somewhere. You have to get a bigger house because you have more kids. Whatever the circumstances are, the ultimate goal is to sell your house. And it's weird to me today that agents don't encourage pre-listing inspections. And that's why Sherry has me. She's like, you got to talk about it, because they do it and it's golden. Now, if you don't want to pay for that, we also provide a staging checklist, and that she provides with her sellers, that here's some honey-do list things that you can fix, right? She says take pictures off, declutter your counters. We say have all your light bulbs working, have light switches tight, change your AC filter, clean out your gutters, paint, fix the little hole in the wall, redo some caulking on your windows or in your bathroom or the grout on the tile. All of those things make your report smaller, so when the buyer does get an inspection, it's a smaller report, there's a lot less honey-do list, and they're like, oh, this is a clean house, this is a clean inspection. And so you want them to feel good about it, because they already did. They looked at it on the matter report from whenever it was on the listing, and they fell in love with it. Now they see it in person, they still love it. Now they get the inspection report, and it confirms their love. And that's what I think agents are missing right now, and that's what they do good about, is let you fall in love with it and stay in love with it. Now, saying that, if you're going to do the inspection, you're going to stand out, because no listing agents are doing this right now. We used to do it 20 years ago because the market was like it is now, and there were 5-6 houses in the neighborhood for sale, and we wanted to stand out. Well, how do we stand out? Well, we do the thing that no one else is doing, the pre-listing inspection, and fix the things so that when they've already done an inspection, we don't have to do as much on this house as we do this. They're the same price, and they kind of have the same granite and paint. Yeah, let's go with this one because it's less work. Right? We may not be out as much money. It's been staged and decluttered, right? It just presents so much better when you do it like that. And so working with them and doing that, the houses are selling and turning faster. You're getting a higher price because the condition matches it, and the inspectors go in and they're having easier inspections, so everybody leaves happier at the end of the day. So most people in our industry think that doing an inspection is just for the buyers, and I solely disagree. I think it's more important for the sellers to do the inspection money-wise. Now, is it super important for the buyer? Absolutely, because they want to know what they're buying. But if you do it for them, then you're helping them a little bit, encouraging them to buy your house. So that's what I've done. That's what we always do. That's what we always preach and coach and teach. And so that's really kind of where we stand.
And you also do inspections once you go under contract.
Yeah.
For sure.
And you for sure do it. Yeah, you for sure want to do it on the buyer side when you go into contract. So when you sell your house, you're still going to do that. You want to know.
Yeah. So a couple things to piggyback off of that, Garrett. So if somebody does get if a seller does get an inspection early, because it will be within 4 years of them listing their home, they are required to present it to any potential buyers.
Yes.
And what I've done, not just add the invoices to things that they've repaired, but I've also had them next to the item put like a fixed, done, and then the date.
Yeah.
So it's on the report itself. They don't have to go, okay, what did they do and not do? And that is super helpful, because then you get this thing going, done, fixed, and it
Right.
gives them confidence. And then the other thing,
and you're doing it on the seller's disclosure. So a
right.
lot of people tell me, oh, well, we got to fill out a seller's disclosure then. And I've always, yeah, it's okay to be honest. A lot of times buyers will be like, thank you, and they'll know, oh, well, if they're honest about what the condition of their house is at the beginning before I make an offer, then we can pretty much trust that they're going to be honest throughout the whole transaction.
and they're not trying to hide.
And they're not trying to hide
hide
anything.
The other thing that I was gonna say on piggyback was, a lot of times there's little things. They could go down to, Home Depot or Lowe's, and for $1 fix something that they would be coming back and asking $50 for.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of times it can save the sellers money because they can fix it themselves. But once you go under contract, the repairs are required to be done by a professional whatever. So it's not like, well, the husband is a great handyman, he fixes all kinds of stuff. He's not gonna be allowed to make any of the repairs. It's gonna have to be a professional handyman that's what they do for a living.
Right.
Or an HVAC, or an electrician.
And right now, the statistic is buyers are asking for 4 times more than what it's worth. So when your cousin or your brother or your wife or your sister or you could have fixed it for $2.50, now you're asking for way more than that,
Yeah.
right?
Put a cover plate on something.
Yeah.
It was $1.25.
Absolutely.
But then they want $5,000 of repairs when
Yep.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. And so we've got some closing successes. Lots, that's just a few of them. So is yours gonna be next? And then I just wanted to touch base briefly on for sale by owners. So I just, some people think that they can sell it themselves. They wanna save money. But what's interesting is if for sale by owners really save money, we should see every for sale by owner signs all over the place. Have you guys seen any lately? I couldn't even tell you the last time I saw a for sale by owner sign, because it's not really saving them money. And like I said, if it was, everybody would do it. Over 92% of homes are sold with a real estate agent. And that's nationally, but I think it's higher in this area because we just never see these for sale by owners. Because if a buyer's coming to a for sale by owner, they know that all the rest of the homes that have sold used 2 real estate agents, and so they're just gonna offer you less money than if you had gone and used an agent. Plus, you don't have anybody negotiating for you. So if you said, I don't care, I'm gonna do a for sale by owner, I've got 4 tips. One is you need to make sure it gets out to thousands of websites. Number 2, you wanna make sure that you know all the legally required documents and which ones to avoid to not get sued. Number 3, you wanna get a pre-qualification letter, and you wanna get an ID from any visitors to keep your home secure, prevent anybody coming to case the home. And 4th, just remember to be careful not to tell prospective buyers that you can't show because you're going out of town, or you're not gonna be home until late that night. You just wanna use an excuse like, you've got some family coming over, you're gonna be throwing a party or something, because again, you don't know these people, they're not represented by an agent that has already done, met them, done some investigating and things like that. So that's something to just be careful of. Okay, so we're gonna open it up for questions. So I want to see if anybody has any questions. Okay. We got a question. Okay, good question. It's for you, LeAnn. She wants to know, is there anything people are surprised that that you can help them with?
Yes, so the misconception of an organizer is when I tell people that I'm an organizer, they say, oh, so you organize closets. And I have to tell them in a nice way, I have organized a closet, but that is not all that we do. We do so much more than that. And then I think along with that, it's when I have a booth at events, some people walk by my booth and say, oh, number one, they'll say, oh, I'm already organized, I don't need her. And I hear that, I'm like, well, that's not all I do. And then 2, they say, oh, we're not moving anytime soon, so we don't need you. Again, there's a lot of things organizers do. Anywhere from hoarding situations all the way down to just packing one room because your kiddo's moving out. So we can do it all, and there's just some misconceptions.
Okay, so that was a good question. Any other questions? Okay, we've got one. Okay, Garrett, they want to know how much does an inspection cost?
That varies on square footage, and for a pre-listing inspection, we do 2 different types. We do a full-blown inspection. If you're around 2,500 square feet, 3,000 square feet, you're between 400 and 450, give or take, and that's a full-blown inspection. We also do what we call a 5-point inspection. Some people don't care about the doorknobs and door handles being loose and light bulbs being out, so we call it a 5-point inspection, which is the foundation, the roof, the HVAC, the water heater, and the electrical panel. And that's less because it's just the 5 major items that would cost the seller money, and that starts at $245, pending the square footage. If it's bigger, it's more, obviously, because there's more stuff to do. So yeah, it's a good question.
Okay. Yeah, it was. Okay, any other questions? Okay.
Sherry, what would you say is the most important thing that I need to be focusing on right now if I'm thinking about selling my house in the next 3 or 4 months?
So the question was, what should I be focusing on now if I am thinking of selling in about 3 or 4 months? And I would say would be decluttering, getting as much stuff out, and just like you said, if it's summertime, you're not gonna need your winter coat. You're not gonna need your scarves and your hats and long sleeve stuff. So you can start packing it up, giving things away, or whatever. So I would say just, starting to do that, and then looking around, seeing is something gonna need to be painted? Is something need to be fixed? So I would say just kind of prepping the home, getting it ready.
Is there anything I should focus on specifically when I'm getting my house ready for photos?
For photos, anything specific that you should prepare your home for photos. For photos, we don't like to take photos with like mats in the kitchen or mats in the bathroom. And we don't like, stuff on the countertops. Just, again, decluttering, and as few things, just kind of a minimalist look at the house so that people can visualize their own stuff. I mean, it's really funny to see some photos sometimes when people are listing their homes, and you can see like a wall of coats and stuff just hanging, and trash is out, and all those things, and it's just like, okay, you're trying to sell this home. So decluttering, and I like to say less is more. So yeah, just, having maybe a friend come over and say, what should I get rid of? Because sometimes you don't see it, you live in the house, and get a second set of eyes on the house. So that's what I would say. But, okay, any other questions?
Well, just for LeAnn, piggybacking off, Garrett talked about the cost of the different kinds of inspections that he does. What levels of organizing do you provide, and do you have like price brackets, or like how much time does it usually take based on the project, or?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Yeah, repeat the question.
So what is my pricing strategies? What do I offer? Any packages, that kind of stuff? That was the question.
Yeah.
So I think that, yes, so I am hourly. It is $100 an hour this year, if the price was increased. And I do have a 2 hour minimum. So there's no really package in a sense. There is I do have an organizing maintenance plan, and that is a little less because the client might want me to come back several times in a month and just maintain the space that was organized. So that can vary on pricing, but the price is pretty much set.
Okay. All right, well, thank you, everybody. I thank you for the panel. Great information. You guys know what you're talking about. And, if we can help you sell your home, get inspections, or need to tidy up and organize it, you know who to call. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.